The Cretaceous period. The Mesozoic era has come to an end. The Cretaceous period was the last and most rich in prehistoric inhabitants. During the Cretaceous period, the Great Matteric Discovery continued on our planet. The climate was no longer as hot and suitable for the animals of the Jurassic period. There was a real winter with snow in the northern parts of our planet. But still, temperatures in the Cretaceous were higher than today. In the Cretaceous, life reached perhaps its greatest diversity. There's never been such a great diversity of life on Earth, before or since. No major catastrophes occurred during this remarkable period. Evolution proceeded slowly and calmly. Flowering plants appeared, which reduced soil erosion. As a result of this event, fewer minerals entered the ocean. All of this led to a decrease in the diversity of biomass. The depths of the ocean became not as rich and fabulous as before, but the mass of terrestrial vegetation increased greatly because of flowering plants. The growth of flowering plants has contributed to the growth of insects that feed on nectar and carry pollen, as well as animals that eat the fruit and spread seminars. Insects appeared that could not live without flowering plants at all. These are butterflies and bees. Birds and mammals ate fruits and spread seeds over long distances, spreading plants to new parts of the continents. Populations of small animals increased. Flowering vegetation formed large, dense thickets in which small rodents, lizards, and snakes hid. The Cretaceous period saw the appearance of many groups of bivalves like mussels and gastropods like snails. There were fewer ammonites. Belemnites took the place of these creatures. New inhabitants appeared, small shrimps, crabs, and lobsters. The first nummulites appeared, a type of coral that formed reefs. Giant mollusks spread very rapidly in the oceans of the Cretaceous period. These include the Inoceramus, which reached 3 feet in diameter, and the Platyceramus, which could reach up to 10 feet in diameter. In appearance, gastropods and bivalves no longer differed much from those of today. Few squid, octopuses, and nautiloids swam in the Cretaceous seas. The most flourishing class of fishes in the Cretaceous period were, as they are now, the rayfish and the fishes. The largest of the ray-finned class were fishes such as the Protosphaerina, which reached 10 feet in length, and the Xiphocynthina, as large as 20 feet. In the Cretaceous period, the first coracinids, salmonids, and pikes appeared. The modern pike originated at that time and has not changed a bit since then. Cretaceous sharks gradually began to look like modern sharks and reached a length of 23 feet and raised 10 feet. Some species of Jurassic plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs were still found in the seas. The descendants of ichthyosaurs, which became extinct in the early Cretaceous, were 65 feet long and had 2 pairs of short flippers each. The fierce marine plesiosaurs of the Cretaceous, like elasmosaurs, and the giant mosasaurs, were considered the masters of the seas. The prey of these predators consisted of all kinds of fish inhabiting the ocean. The giants were not very picky about their food. In those days, giant archelon sea turtles swam the world's oceans, leisurely raking the warm water with their flippers in search of food. The archelons reached nearly 13 feet in length. The largest known specimen of an archelon found by scientists was 16 feet long, with the distance between the flippers reaching 17 feet. The weight of this turtle reached 4 tons in its lifetime. Meanwhile, on land, many exciting things were also happening. From lizard-like ancestors, true snakes evolved. Large lizards with long spines on their backs lived in what is now Europe. Huge pythons crawled in the jungles of small chalk forests. Some new species of seabirds also appeared. Hesperornis were like large loons. Bees flew everywhere. Moths and other insects fluttered about. Numerous spiders hid among the leaves, waiting for their prey. New groups of plants quickly formed huge forests. It became a paradise for land animals. A variety of leaves and other edible vegetation gave rise to new animals. The forests were filled with more and more inhabitants. Dinosaurs continued to be the dominant animal group in the Cretaceous, accounting for 49% of all Cretaceous animal genera. Dinosaurs continued to evolve rapidly. New species emerged throughout the Cretaceous, reaching the peak of their prosperity. One of the largest groups of dinosaurs were the lizard-like dinosaurs. Most theropods were predatory bipedal dinosaurs. Theropods are becoming more diverse. This is because insects and mammals are becoming larger and more diverse. The most primitive of all theropods that survived into the Cretaceous period were Cerathosaurs. What distinguishes Cerathosaurus from other theropods are the crocodile-like bone plaques on its skin and the horny ridges on its snout that protect its eyes and nostrils from the desperate blows of unfortunate prey. The Scratosaurs belong to two large families. The first family is the Abelisauridae. These were large predators up to 930 feet and weighing up to 1.5 tons. After the continent of Gondwana split, there were many islands that slowly traveled across the ocean, gradually forming future continents. Africa, Australia, Eurasia, South and North America. Abelisaurids lived only in the southern hemisphere of the Earth. The main prey of predators were young sauropods and small mammals. Also, any of the predators quietly fed on carrion. The hands of most Abelisaurids were very short and with 4 fingers. Among the Abelisauridae, the subfamily Cornitoris is distinguished. This subfamily includes 7 genera that descended from a single ancestor. An interesting representative of Abelisaurids called Mayungasaurus. This unusual predator had a horn on the forehead and unusual for dinosaurs' bulldog jaws, which are convenient to strangle large and strong prey. These dinosaurs were characterized by a ferocious temperament, fought a lot among themselves, and gladly ate defeated opponents. This is the only dinosaur species for which regular cannibalism has been reliably proven. Carnotaurus also had a shortened snout, but its jaws were wide open, and allowed it to swallow very large pieces of food without chewing. In addition, Carnotaurus had full binocular vision. Another predator, the Rajasaurus. Rajasaurus was almost identical to Mayungasaurus, except that it weighed up to 4 tons. That's much more than any other abelisaur. The second family of Cretaceous ceratosaurs is the Nuasauridae. These animals were similar to Ceratosaurus but were much smaller than the Abelisaurites, only up to 10 feet long and weighing up to 110 pounds. The exception to this family was Deltodromaeus. Deltodromaeus stood out from the Noasaurites with its gigantic size, reaching up to 42 feet in length and up to 3.5 tons in weight. Deltodromaeus's paws and muscles were incredibly strong. There is a theory that Deltodromaeus grabbed and killed large prey not with its teeth, as most theropods do, but with its front paws. We will now look at the descendants of the Jurassic Megalosaurus. This is the superfamily of megalosauroids or spinosauroids. The fact is that the megalosaurid family became extinct at the very beginning of the Cretaceous period. The last representative of this family was Afrovenator. The predator reached up to 30 feet in length. At the end of the Jurassic period, a new family, the Spinosauridae, split from the Megalosauridae. Like modern polar bears, these animals ate mainly fish, but any representative of this family could on occasion eat a small dinosaur if that gape. And if the predator fisherman did not eat for a long time, he could catch a rather large animal. The jaws of spinosaurids were long, thin, and weak, like those of dolphins or gavials. The teeth of predators were numerous but small. Many spinosaurids grew a leathery sail on their backs full of blood vessels. The sail was used like a radiator on an automobile. If the sail was blown by the wind, it cooled the blood that flowed through the vessels inside. The sail was especially useful if the animal had to sit for a long time on the bank of a body of water under the hot sun and cold wind. If the predator overheated, the blood vessels in the sail expanded. If the animal froze, the blood vessels in the sail began to contract. Spinosaurids were very large animals. Their body length, along with their tail, ranged up to 60 feet, and they could weigh up to 9 tons. This family includes the largest land predators of all time. Now let's talk about the descendants of the allosaurs, carnosaurs. Carnosaurs had a good sense of smell but were not distinguished by intelligence. The brain of predators was about the same as that of crocodiles. Cretaceous carnosaurs are divided into 2 families. The first family is called the Carcharodontosauridae. These are very large animals that reached up to 40 feet in length and weighed up to 6 tons. Notable among the Carcharodontosauridae is the 40-foot-long Acrocanthosaurus, which lived on the eastern North American continent at the beginning of the Cretaceous period. The predator could not run fast, but had very strong forelegs, which pressed the victim to itself and did not let it escape. In case of long starvation on the back of Acrocanthosaurus, had a thick fat compartment running along almost the entire spine. Interestingly, the fingers on the hands of Acrocanthosaurus bent in both directions, not only towards the palm, but also vice versa. In the middle of the Cretaceous period, all Carcharodontosaurids became extinct. The second family of Cretaceous carnosaurs is the neovenators. These include not-so-huge animals, up to 30 feet long and up to 4 tons in weight. These were smaller versions of the allosaurs. Now it's worth talking about the more advanced theropods. These are the coelurosaurs. These animals ran fast, and many of these species had plumage designed not to fly but to stay warm. Large coelurosaurs that lived in warm climates lost their feathers as adults. With equal body size, coelurosaurs had twice the brain size of the previously discussed theropods. The brain structure of coelurosaurs became closer to the bird brain than to the crocodile brain. The most famous subfamily of coelurosaurs is the tyrannosauroids. Tyrannosauroids ranged in size up to 45 feet and weighed up to 7 tons. Tyrannosauroids were found only in the northern hemisphere of the Earth, on fragments of the former continent of Eurasia, and on the small islands of Cretaceous Europe, tyrannosauroids quickly became extinct. In the southern hemisphere, their ecological niche was occupied by ceratosaurs and carnosaurs. The Tyrannosauridae family was one of the largest carnivorous animals that ever lived on the planet. Tyrannosaurids used their front legs to hold small prey before gnawing it. It is also likely that the males clung with their small paws to the female when mating to avoid falling. The front paws also served as an aid for the predator to get up from the ground after sleeping. Unlike other theropods, Tyrannosauridae could not only gnaw off pieces of meat from the carcass, but also normally cut up the prey. These theropods could gnaw bones and suck out marrow, break open the ribcage and get to the tasty and nutritious innards. The largest and most famous tyrannosaur is the Tyrannosaurus. The predator reached 45 feet in length. The skull was over 3 feet long and had large, sharp teeth. Each tooth was up to 1 foot in size. Adult Tyrannosaurus were clumsy, but the predators were fast runners and could reach speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour if necessary, but usually moved at a pace of about 17 kilometers per hour. A tyrannosaur's stride was 13 feet. Tyrannosaurus did not like to run, because at such a weight any fall resulted in severe injuries. The skeletons of almost all old tyrannosaurs show signs of healed fractures. A newborn Tyrannosaurus was the size of a newborn ostrich. By the age of 2, a Tyrannosaurus reached 66 pounds. A 10-year-old Tyrannosaurus weighed almost 4,000 pounds. Then came a period of rapid growth, and by the age of 18 the animal became sexually mature with a body weight of about 4 tons. Further growth slowed down a lot, but continued throughout life, which in Tyrannosaurids was not very long. The oldest known specimen lived 28 years and weighed 5.5 tons at the end of its life. Tyrannosaurus rex is probably better known than the rest of the dinosaurs. In addition, it is likely to be one of the last dinosaurs that ever lived on Earth. Another member of this family was Torbosaurus. Thanks to their powerful jaws and strong teeth, Torbosaurs easily chewed through the thick bone shell of herbivorous scalosaurs. The next family in the theropod suborder is the Compsognathicidae. These small dinosaurs in the Jurassic period were no bigger than a rooster, but in the Cretaceous period became larger, up to 10 feet long and up to 66 pounds in weight. The plumage of Compsognathicids was soft and fluffy, like that of modern kiwis. Compsognathicids fed on lizards and mammals. A small, long-tailed Sinosauropteryx. It was the only dinosaur with an approximate known lifetime coloration like the modern raccoon. Sinosauropteryx had remarkably long index fingers on its hands, longer than its forearm. Another subfamily called ornithomimosaurs. These were medium-sized dinosaurs, up to 20 feet long and up to 1,000 feet in weight. The creatures looked like ostriches and had similarly small heads with large eyes. Many ornithomimosaurs grew beaks. Among the ornithomimosaurs, the giant Deinocheirus stands out dramatically. It was the longest theropodus in the history of the Earth. The animal could reach a length of up to 65 feet together with the tail and weigh up to 9 tons. Ornithomimosaurs were fast runners. The theropods had a maximum speed of 80 kilometers per hour. Ornithomimosaurs were omnivores. Predators ate small animals, lizards, frogs, fish, eggs of other dinosaurs. Ornithomimosaurs also ate fruits, which they plucked directly from the trees, bending the branches with their hands. Maniraptors. Among the maniraptors, there was the strangest superfamily of theropods. These were the pterosinosaurs. These dinosaurs were plant eaters. These theropods could reach up to 40 feet in size. The largest specimens of a Tyrannosaurus weighed over 6 tons, almost as much as a Tyrannosaurus. Instead of teeth, Tyrannosaurus had a large and blunt bird's beak. There were so-called termite killers, Alvarez zauroma, small dinosaurs that fed exclusively on termites. Another infraorder worth paying attention to is the aerial raptors. The physique of these animals resembled ostriches. Many animals had a cock's comb on their head. Some air raptors were carnivorous, some omnivorous, some herbivorous. This group was very diverse. Some animals were the size of a modern smartphone, while others were up to 27 feet long. Some air raptors weighed a few grams, while others could reach up to 2 tons. Amimimas, on the other hand, ran very fast and could reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour. All further maniraptors belonged to a group called steamers. Did you like the video? Put a thumbs up and leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also hit the bell to not miss new interesting videos from our channel.